Hello everybody, my name is Ed, and today I have been tagged in one of BirdKeeperToby's Wants to Battle tag videos by the lovely Tearastar. If you guys haven't checked out Tearastar, firstly, how the hell did you find me? Because that's how I got tagged in this. But secondly, you should definitely check out her content, the content she's with as part of Ace Trainer Liam's content, and also her amazing TikTok content. Is that enough shoutouts? I imagine so. Let's get started. Apparently, this tag thing involves me answering 7 very easy questions, so without any more stalling, let's answer those questions. Number 1, why did you choose your YouTube name? Well, when I used to work at a company called Pace Media and we decided to start up a YouTube channel, we had a list of names that were potentially up there for it. We had things like something about dead squirrels, something about fried mice, and then we also had Game Hog, which actually, now that we think about it, makes total sense. It's a kind of consumption of video games. A Game Hog is actually also a term for that person who used to sit on an arcade machine and never get off it, and also, no, I have no third reason. I guess it's slightly confusing because I've also been doing a bit of anime content and other things, so it's less Game Hog and more like Geek Hog. But I ain't changing that name anytime soon, sod it. Question number 2, what is your favorite Pokemon game? Well, I'd probably have to give this to Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver. The reason I'd give it to these is because Pokemon Gold and Pokemon Crystal were some of my first forays into the Pokemon world. And actually, as far as I'm concerned, they're near perfect examples of a sequel. A good sequel should take a lot of the ideas from the original game and leap off from that and try and explore new areas. And frankly, doing that from Johto and being able to go back and visit Kanto that's slightly changed since Pokemon Red and Blue and Yellow is a very exciting premise. I'm also a huge fan of a lot of the designs from the second game. They also don't have too many in them, and that's what I quite like. My problem with games like Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon is that there is an overwhelming amount of Pokemon. And yeah, that's great if you're a big fan and you like to collect them all, but for someone like me who gets a little bit intimidated by all that and the collection aspect of it, it's way more manageable when you only have a couple of hundred Pokemon, almost all of which I think are amazing. So there you go, I'd say Heart Gold and Soul Silver. I would probably have said something like Pokemon Crystal, but frankly those games haven't really aged the best, and so I'd like to go for the more polished versions that came out on the DS. Question number 3, what is your favorite evil team? Frankly, none of them. They're all sort of a fairly boring and deranged binary evil, except for Team Plasma from Black and White. I thought N's more complex idea of being raised by Pokemon and loving Pokemon and wanting those to be separate because they see all the cruelty going on between Pokemon and humans, I thought was quite a neat idea, rather than going, grr, grr, shake fist, I'm evil. It's why I like villains like Kylo Ren and stuff in Star Wars. I find that more complex and conflicted side far more interesting than, like I said, grr. Question number 4, what should viewers expect from me this year? Well, hopefully a ton more than I did last year. Last year, one of the main issues I had was that I was focusing very hard on my career, whether that was my editing for other YouTubers or whether it was transitioning to hosting for stage events like Summer in the City and MCM Comic Con and things like that. This year, however, I've finally got back a lot of my creative spark and a little bit more free time. And one of the things I'm trying to capitalize on mostly is the recent released reboot of my favorite anime of all time, Sorceress Stabber Orphan. Now, if you've never heard of Sorceress Stabber Orphan, that's great. Head to this video here, where you guys can find out exactly what it's about in under 3 minutes. We all have that time in our lives. If you don't have 3 minutes, you must have the busiest life in the world, and you can't have got this far into this video. So, good job getting this far. Go watch the video if you like anime. It genuinely is my favorite series ever, and I'm actually going to be doing some more videos comparing the original 2001 version to the 2020 version, doing some reviews, going over the video game that came out on the PlayStation 2. We've got a lot of things planned. And on top of that, I'm going to be continuing my Do You Remember series, my Do You Remember Extra series, which will probably both cover things like Beyblade, Medabots, all those kind of nostalgic topics. And as well as that, I'm probably going to be moving into some more general analytical and discussion topics with some of my close friends about relevant gaming topics, whether that's things like Cyberpunk 2077, or whether it's things like the new Final Fantasy game, or even the new Pokemon DLCs. I've got lots of PokeTuber fans like Toby and Liam, who I'm sure will be very up for speaking about things like that, so expect more content like that on the channel. Question number 5, why did I start the YouTube channel? Well, I was inspired by watching people like Toby Turner, Markiplier, other people like that, and I was watching them and kind of thought, hey, I can do that. Turns out I couldn't, but I thought I could. Nowadays, what I really want from the channel is to be a sort of conduit for nerds to non-nerds. I like being able to explain incredibly nerdy concepts to people in a way that makes them go, huh, that's kind of cool, even if they're not remotely into that subject whatsoever. It's part of why I've been leaping on Orphan, so I could try and bring that to people who might not otherwise care, and it's why people like the BBC like having me on to talk about video games. I'd like to think I'm getting better at being able to boil something very nerdy and intense down to something that even a non-nerd would enjoy. Why did I start the channel? Because I like being on camera and talking nonsense and talking about video games, so here we are a few years later. Question number 6, name someone with similar or less subscribers. By the way, that should be fewer subscribers. It's a discrete variable, you can count them, you can't have half a subscriber, so it's fewer. Good job, Toby. Name someone with fewer subscribers than you who you might recommend. I recommend my good friend Yoehn. Liam, Yoehn, and I have always considered ourselves a little bit of a trio, and we spend a lot of time helping each other out with content. Yoehn has been doing a really big push on Dead by Daylight content recently because it's a game that he's very much into, and I really encourage you guys to go and watch that content. It's really fun. If you play the game, it's very informative, and he's going to be expanding in that content into more tutorial stuff, the more fun side of things. It's going to be great. I highly recommend Yoehn. He's also a good chap, and he does a lot of live streaming as well, so go follow him on Twitch and also on YouTube. It's always nice to be supporting our friends, especially when they're creating content, and Yoehn has been around in the whole Pokemon world for a little bit, but he's now trying to move away from that. So if you guys want to help encourage him on that journey, please do go check him out. And finally, question number 7. Tag 3 different people who also have to do this bizarrely formatted video. Well, I would like to firstly suggest Isla McTear. Isla is one of my fellow colleagues at the job that I do. We both do a lot of editing. We're both senior video producers for a lot of YouTubers, and I think Isla is one of the best content creators out there. She does amazing anime videos, and I'm a big fan of the way that she presents them, writes them, edits them. She's amazing, and I'd like to see her answer all of these questions as well. Number 2, I'd like to recommend Luke and James Play. Both Luke and James are some of my best friends and some of the first people that I met in the world of, YouTube and content creation via MCM. They're really good lads, really enjoy their constant live streams. They're doing a lot of Monster Hunter at the moment, so if you guys are enjoying Iceborne or anything like that, definitely go check them out. Very regular streams, but I'd like to see them answer all these questions as well. And thirdly and finally, my good friend Spammals. Spammals over the last few years has absolutely blown up. He has been doing really great content, whether it's his Titanic themed stuff, whether it's the more varietal gaming content. He's a really, really brilliant creator, and I would like to see him answer some of these questions because I know he's not the biggest Pokemon fan in the world, but I'd still like to hear some of his thoughts on that, why he made his channel, and things like that. Also, a big shout out to Tearastar again, who did encourage me to do this. It was very kind of you to tag me, and also a big shout out to her boyfriend Ace Trainer Liam, because Liam actually did give me a shout out like I did for Yoehn in his version of this video, and that was very kind of him. He's a very good friend, very supportive, so thanks Liam, you're a good lad. Thanks very much for watching this video, and make sure that you guys subscribe if you already haven't, because we've got lots more content coming up to do with Orphan, to do with video games, and I hope you guys will enjoy it. Be sure to go check out some of the other stuff I've done, including an audiobook, a brief synopsis of Orphan, and various other content on the channel with silly video game commentary, etc. Anyway, we'll see all of you guys in the next video. Take care, bye-byesies.